There's a forgotten painkiller growing across America, near fences, ditches, vacant lots, and even the edges of ordinary backyards. And most people walk right past it like it's just another weed. That plant is called wild lettuce, a tall, bitter plant with milky white sap once used for pain, coughs, and sleep. And here's the strange part. It wasn't only used by herbalists. It was known by doctors, sold by pharmacists, and even turned to when morphine ran short during the Civil War. But honestly, wild lettuce didn't disappear because it was useless. It disappeared because medicine moved toward patented pills and away from plants anyone could grow. So watch closely because this forgotten weed may change how you see your backyard. Section 1. The weed Americans walk past every day. To most people, wild lettuce looks like just another tall, ugly weed. You might see it along a rural road, growing beside an old fence, behind a shed, in a vacant lot, or right at the edge of a backyard where nobody bothers to mow. It does not look expensive. It does not look rare. Honestly, it looks like something most homeowners would pull out and throw away. But here's the thing. This is not just a weed. It is a forgotten medicinal plant hiding in plain sight. For centuries, the milky sap of wild lettuce was known as lactucarium, a bitter resin historically used for pain, coughs, and sleep. And this is where gardeners should pay attention. Wild lettuce is tough. It grows strongly, handles ordinary soil, and can survive in many temperate parts of the United States. You could grow it outdoors in a backyard herb patch, or even in a large patio container. You could spend $100 on sleep gummies, turmeric capsules, magnesium, and pain relief products at Costco or Whole Foods, or use that same $100 to start learning a few useful plants in a backyard medicinal garden. Now, that does not mean you should pick it from a dirty roadside or use it like medicine without guidance. But learning to identify the leaves, flowers, and white sap is where the knowledge begins. But wild lettuce did not start as a backyard curiosity. Its story goes back thousands of years. Section 2. The ancient medicine cabinet. Today, the average American medicine cabinet has Advil, Tylenol, cough syrup, and maybe a sleep aid tucked behind the mirror. But for most of human history, the medicine cabinet was a field, a garden, or a bundle of dried plants hanging near the fire. And wild lettuce was part of that older world. Not as a trendy wellness product, not as something with a fancy label, but as a plant people watched, tested, named, and passed down through generations. Ancient records, including Egyptian and Greek medical writings, described the milky sap of wild lettuce as something used to calm pain and bring sleep. And honestly, that tells us something. People were not ordering $40 bottles, $60 powders, or monthly supplement subscriptions. Their health knowledge came from knowing what grew around them. Wild lettuce was not some rare imported herb that needed a greenhouse. It was tough, bitter, ordinary looking, the kind of plant that could grow in normal soil under normal sun without asking for much. Now, modern science didn't invent interest in wild lettuce. It's simply starting to explain why people noticed it in the first place. For gardeners today, that makes it worth understanding, not as a miracle cure, but as a living piece of medicinal history. But here's the thing. Ancient use alone doesn't make a plant important. What makes wild lettuce different is that it followed medicine all the way into America. Section 3. When wild lettuce entered American drugstores before pharmacy chains were on every corner, local druggists mixed tinctures, syrups, powders, and plant extracts behind the counter. There was no CVS app, no Walgreens aisle full of identical bottles, no quick scan at Walmart pharmacy. Medicine felt more local, more hands-on, and much closer to plants, and wild lettuce was part of that world. It wasn't just something a farmer pulled from a field or a grandmother whispered about. Doctors knew it. Pharmacists stocked it. By the late 1800s and early 1900s, wild lettuce preparations appeared in recognized medical and pharmaceutical references. It could be made into tinctures, lozenges, syrups, or dried into a bitter resin. But here's the catch: quality mattered. Freshness mattered. A strong preparation and an old, weak one were not the same thing. Today you walk into Walgreens and choose from rows of standardized bottles. Back then, a pharmacist might work with plant extracts directly. That older system was less convenient, sure, but it also kept people connected to the plants behind the medicine. And then America entered one of the bloodiest chapters in its history, and suddenly every pain-relieving plant mattered. Section 4. The Civil War test. Picture a Civil War field hospital in the South. No clean operating room, no modern anesthesia team, no pharmacy truck arriving the next morning, just wounded soldiers, exhausted surgeons, and a desperate need for anything that could dull pain. This is the moment wild lettuce stopped being an old herb and became a battlefield substitute. Historical accounts describe surgeons turning to lactucarium when opium and morphine supplies became scarce. And honestly, In that kind of moment, a plant growing nearby could matter more than a medicine locked behind a broken supply line. Wild lettuce was not as powerful as morphine. Nobody should pretend it was. But it had one advantage that mattered in a crisis. It grew close to where people needed it. It didn't require a factory, a shipment, or an imported supply. It could be gathered, prepared, and used when options were running out. Today, Americans depend on supply chains, prescriptions, pharmacy shelves, and insurance coverage. And to be clear, modern emergency medicine is a gift. But in a crisis, older generations often turn to what grew nearby. That doesn't mean wild lettuce should replace emergency medicine. It absolutely should not. But it explains why gardeners, herbalists, and survival-minded Americans still pay attention to it. Later, compounds like lactucin and lactucopikrin would help explain why people saw it as pain-relieving. But after the war, America faced another problem. Pain relief had saved lives, but opium had also created dependence. Section 5. The opium problem and the gentler alternative for modern Americans. This part of the story feels uncomfortably familiar. We already know what can happen when pain relief turns into dependence. Families, small towns, and entire communities have lived through that reality. And this is where wild lettuce became interesting for a different reason. It was not placed beside opium because it was stronger. It was noticed because it was considered weaker, but gentler. 19th century physicians compared lactucarium with opium and often described it that way: less dramatic, less intoxicating, but still useful for calming pain, coughs, and sleeplessness. A pain problem can turn into years of recurring purchases, pills, appointments, refills, stronger prescriptions. That's why a plant with a reputation for gentler relief became so interesting historically. Now, this does not mean you should replace medication with wild lettuce. Absolutely not. But as part of home apothecary history, it raises an important question. Why did doctors once care about this plant at all? Modern research suggests some compounds may work through non-opioid pathways, including adenosine-related activity. So wild lettuce had history, usefulness, and official recognition. But then the rules of medicine changed. Section 6. Why modern medicine left it behind now. This is where the story changes. Because modern medicine didn't just ask, does this plant have a history? It started asking a different question. Can it be standardized, patented, packaged, approved, insured, and sold at scale? Think about how Americans buy medicine today. You walk into Target, Walmart, Costco, CVS, or Walgreens, and everything is neat. Clear doses, expiration dates, sealed bottles, insurance codes, predictable labels. And honestly, that system has real benefits. Consistency matters. But here's the problem. As medicine moved toward synthetic chemistry and formal drug approval, wild plants became harder to fit into the system. Wild lettuce grows easily. It's low cost. It can come back season after season. For a gardener, that's an advantage. For a business built on recurring purchases, it's a problem. You might spend $100 this month on Advil, Tylenol, sleep gummies, magnesium turmeric capsules, or CBD. But for that same $100, you could walk into Home Depot, Lowe's, or a local nursery and start a small medicinal herb corner that keeps teaching you season after season. Pills are a recurring purchase. A garden is a knowledge asset. The supplement aisle sells consumption. The backyard gives you control. And this is why homesteaders, backyard gardeners, organic growers, preppers, and natural health people still care about plants like this. Not because they reject medicine, but because they understand value differently. This is not about rejecting modern medicine. It's about asking why useful plant knowledge disappears when it can't be turned into a protected product. But to be fair, wild lettuce also had a real problem. And this is the part most natural health videos skip. Section 7. The freshness and quality problem. Anyone who has bought herbal products online knows the problem. 2 bottles can have the same label and feel completely different. One tincture seems strong, another feels like colored water. And honestly, this is where the wild lettuce story becomes more complicated. It may not have disappeared only because of big pharma. It also had a real problem. Consistency. The active compounds in lactucarium can degrade, which means old or poorly prepared products may be weak. Freshness matters. The plant matters, the season matters, even where it grows matters. Buying a $25 tincture online is easy, but if the product is weak, mislabeled, or old, you're not buying knowledge, you're just buying hope in a bottle. That's why old pharmacists once mattered. They knew how to handle plant extracts. Today, much of that knowledge lives with herbalists, foragers, and homesteaders. And to be fair, modern medicine cares about consistency for a reason. Never use a plant you cannot identify. Be extra careful if you take medication, are pregnant, or have a health condition. Grow it first to learn it, not to treat yourself overnight. And that leads us to the strange place wild lettuce lives today, not in hospitals, not in most pharmacies, but in the margins. Section 8. Wild lettuce today, Etsy, herbal shops, and backyard growers today. Wild lettuce hasn't completely disappeared. You can still find it mentioned on Etsy, Amazon, and herbal shops, at farmers markets, inside old herbal books, and across homesteading blogs. It just moved out of hospitals and into smaller communities. The plant remains legal to grow and possess in the United States, but quality and identification matter. And for gardeners, that's the real advantage. Instead of buying random bottles every month, a gardener can invest in skill, learning what the plant looks like when it grows and why freshness changes everything. It's not salad lettuce, and it's not a casual cooking herb. Historically, it was prepared as tinctures, teas, syrups, or resin. Today, its story survives through herbalists, foragers, homesteaders, survival communities, and people who still remember that useful plants don't always come with a barcode. But the real reason this plant matters is bigger than one herb, one tincture, or one old remedy. Section 9. The bigger message: grow the knowledge back. Most people think a garden is for tomatoes, cucumbers, basil, and maybe a few flowers by the porch. But for older generations, a garden could also be memory, medicine, resilience, and independence. And this is where wild lettuce becomes bigger than one plant. It is not just a pain-relieving herb from the past. It is a symbol of plant knowledge that got broken, bottled, forgotten, and replaced by things we buy over and over again. Many modern medicines still trace their roots to plants, which makes forgotten herbs like wild lettuce worth understanding carefully. Not worshiping, not using recklessly, understanding, because gardening gives you something a bottle never can. Observation. You learn the season, the leaf shape, the flowers, the sap, the soil, the timing. You become less dependent on marketing and more connected to what is actually growing around you. You don't need to chase every new wellness trend, every $40 bottle, every monthly subscription. Sometimes the smarter move is learning 5 useful plants deeply. And honestly, that's why so many Americans are coming back to backyard gardening. Raised beds, local nurseries, herbal education, homesteading, and self-reliance. Tradition gives us clues. Science helps us test them. Gardening helps us remember them. So start small. Build a medicinal herb corner. Learn native and wild plants. Don't harvest from polluted roadsides. Don't self-treat serious conditions. Learn first. And that is why wild lettuce still feels so powerful. Not because it replaces modern medicine, but because it reminds us that useful knowledge can disappear when nobody profits from keeping it alive. Wild lettuce never really vanished. It kept growing along roadsides, behind fences, near old fields, and in forgotten corners of America. What disappeared was the knowledge, the ability to look at a plant and understand why people cared about it. This isn't a miracle cure, and it doesn't replace modern medicine. But it is a reminder you can learn, grow, observe, and take back a little control. Would you grow it? Subscribe for more forgotten plants worth bringing back.